All right, it's Bill here. Here's my thoughts on a 6-3 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes. Uh, Here's how I'm going to describe this game in a nutshell. There's currently a golf tournament happening. You can believe it. It's January. It's awesome that there's a golf tour. Unfortunately, I'm about 4 months away from golfing myself, being in Canada. But there's a golf tournament. It's the Sony Open in Hawaii. And currently the leaders are Harry Hall, Adam Schenk, Eric Cole, Denny McCarthy, Paul Peterson, Tom Hoax. Obviously, this is like the beginning of the season and the big stars aren't showing up. They're firing into like nets or something. I tried to give that a go. I don't understand it. I guess that's exciting, watching golfers fire into a net. I don't know. I guess it's more intimate crowd, whatever it is. I don't get it. But anyways, they are at -6. Mechie Baitano and Austin Matthews, if they took their game tonight, would be tied for first in the Sony Hawaiian Open with a -6. Now, Nyes would be tied for second with fellow Canadian Adam Hadwin at -5. That's my thoughts on the game. When your first line has a minus that could compete in the PGA Tour, this game ain't going well. Now, I actually thought the Leafs brought way more energy than what they did against the Flyers in the previous two games, but it doesn't matter. And we had a William Nylander sighting. He showed up for a game. Thanks, Willie. Tip of the cap, buddy. Once every 7 games, you show up. Perfect. The Leafs started off well. Robertson, Lorentz. Let's talk about the Robertson goal. It has nothing to do with Robertson. It was a nice shot. Has nothing to do with Domi. That was Lorentz mucking it up and getting pucks back. He flew around the ice getting the puck back. That looks like a good third line option to me. You got a guy who can muck around and get his body on the puck. I thought Lorentz was fantastic tonight, to be honest with you, even though they're 6-3, but there's one line, obviously, it's -6. Now, they were +5 against the Bruins. I don't, whatever. Anyways, Lorentz makes a great knock the puck off, get the puck back to Domi to Robertson, quick shot, 1-0. And then Nylander had a 2-on-1 off the post and 2 breakaways, so he decided, okay, I'm going to try to get a goal tonight, and he did. And it's 2-0. What great shape for a game. You start off a game 2-0, but the Leafs could not cover anyone in front of the net tonight. Now, if you have 3 guys in front of the net, and the other team has 1 guy in front of the net, you would think of all of those 3 players, one of them would take the stick. You know, you're not going to score by heading the puck in. I know Marner's tried. You could maybe hit your body and it's a deflection and go in the net. But more importantly, if there's a rebound, take the stick. And on the first goal, it's a disaster. It's Matthews looking, it's OEL looking. It was a bad bounce. You're going to get bad bounces in a game. Carolina had bad bounces. You got to take the stick of the person who's in front of the net. And this puck just lands and Robertson bangs it home. 2-1, 17 seconds later, horrible defensive breakdown. Somehow Eric Staal skated between 4 players and his stick was still, he's able to get a good shot off. Not one of those 4 players thought, hey, maybe I should take the stick. Like, take the stick away from him. You can't kick it in. Take the stick. There's probably a picture you can take a look at on that goal. Not one of them took the stick. Now, they talk about Matthews going on the outside, and yeah, Matthews cheated for sure on the goal. But there's 3 other guys that are looking at Staal and didn't take a stick. 2-2. And I thought from that point forward, Carolina carried the play. Pretty much for the entire game, Carolina carried the play. There was a couple shifts that were pretty good for the Leafs, and then they made a little lineup change in the third period, which I did enjoy. We'll talk about that in just a second. You had a 2-0 lead. Shut it down. Outwork the other team. Out-hustle the other team, and it was our first line that did not do it. I thought Nyes was terrible tonight. He's been good, but he was very bad tonight. I thought Mechie Baitano was really bad until he went on Tavares' line, and all of a sudden he started lighting it up. Oh really? Oh, okay. And overall, Matthews the goal was fantastic. He did look like he was trying to, Like, I'm not more concerned about him being injured anymore by watching him play. Like, he didn't play like he was injured. He just didn't. Out front of the net is the most important. Eric Stahl ate him for lunch today. Or not Eric Stahl, sorry, I got the wrong Stahl. Jordan Stahl ate him for lunch. You can't have this. It also shows a glaring deficiency on the Leafs. So we'll get into the third goal, but the third goal is just a lack of effort. Overall lack of effort. You got 5 forwards on the ice. I get why Morgan Rielly and OEL generate no offense. So you go with 5 forwards. They have a breakout. Willie does his little one-handed nonsense, and then he lost the player, and then Marner doesn't take the pass. He's not a defenseman. I'm not going to sit there and yip at Mitchie Boyten, although it would be nice if you're playing defense that you take the pass and not the shot. So he passes over to Stahl, who fires it home, shorthanded goal. But right after that, they scored a power play goal. So even Steven, you're 3-3. The game's still available. You've been outplayed for a little bit. You outplayed the Carolina Hurricanes for the first bit. Even Steven. Oh, it's the first line again, and it's OEL not playing the right play now. I'm sure Justin Wall, we can't say tonight that our goalie was better than their goalie, because that wasn't the case. Their goalie was better than our goalie, although Wall made some hell of a saves. But that fourth goal had a stench on it. But the stench isn't just the goal going between the legs. It's how OEL played that goal. I'm going to guess OEL was at the end of a shift because of the way he played it. But there was no physical contact on Blake. And I have to be reminded of Jason Blake. That's Jason Blake's kid scoring on us. Jason Blake, the guy that we gave like $5 million to be finally the winger that plays with Matt Sundin, and he was just as good as Hoagland and just as good as Thomas that played with him before. Oh, that wasn't a good reminder. Thanks, Jackson Blake. Visions of 55 went through my head. Oh, Jason Blake, wow. Anyways, Jackson Blake bangs it home 4-3. The Leafs just weren't in the compete zone, and then they start off the third period. How it was third period? How was it? 20 seconds in, and again you got it going in the zone. He comes out. It's Matthews sitting beside Stahl, not taking a stick, and it's a tip shot. Boom, 5-3. From that point forward, the Leafs had a couple good shifts. They were pushing it a little bit, but Carolina was pushing it a little bit. And then you had Seth Jarvis with an empty netter. Who cares about that one? But when your top line goes -6, honestly, they'd be the Sony Open. They'd be tied for first place right now. I wish I was golfing now. The Leafs typically golf in April, unfortunately. They golf the same time I do. But they can't have that. You'll be golfing in April if you keep that up. Or early May or whatever the playoffs start. You have to be a little bit more tougher in front of the net. Now let's talk about the weakness. Glaring weakness of the Leafs is they have no third line center. Max Domi is not a center. They've proven. You can argue Camp is a fourth line center. Okay. But they need a third line center. Or Jordan Stahl is a third line center. That line completely shut down the Matthews line, scored goals. Even their fourth line scored goals, but their third line was a fantastic line for them tonight. Now, our third line scored a goal, but there's no defensive effort. They're not. Lawrence, yes, he's going to outwork people, but Domi and Robertson are not going to outwork and get pucks on boards and muck it up. Their third line mucked it up, won the battles on the boards, and got everything to the net. The third line center has to be addressed. Now, when we talk about third line center, how are you going to get one? Well, to get a third line center, you got to trade something. The only thing we have in the lineup that you can trade is Robertson's going to be traded? Okay. You're going to get your third line center, Robertson. Not going to happen, anybody. You have to look at Minton. You have to look at Cowan. And maybe you get better than a third line center, but you get a center. Now, what they were talking about on the Rhino Ride, I don't know. No, thank you. Scott Laughton is interesting. It's interesting, but they need a third line center. They have to get one before the playoffs start. This game showed it clear as day of what a third line center can do. And that third line center was Jordan Stahl with his hat trick, -6. Embarrassing. The Leafs play the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday. At least I'll be watching that live. Hopefully I'll give you a report right after the game instead of me having to watch the game later. And I did know the score. Well, I think it was 5-3 when I went on. So I assumed that what the game was, but I did watch it. Again, thanks Nylander for showing up. Oh, something I should point out. I apologize. In the third period, Marner went to Tavares, and the line got better. Marner can play with Tavares. He's one of the few that can play with Tavares, but he can play with him. Keep that up. I don't know how many times I scream. I'm red in the face. That is the match. Marner and Tavares. Put Bobby McCann. I could care less. Maybe Domi eventually. Knies, Matthews, and Nylander. And hope Nylander shows up. But if he doesn't, Matthews can show up. Anyways, that's my video. I'll talk to you on Saturday. Cheers.